One, two, 1, 2. What's up, people? What's up, people? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling out there? All right, I got my chats popped up. I just wanted to make sure my chats was up because I know y'all going to have some questions. Just want to make sure I'm available for those. Let me just get my screens right. My YouTube people. My Periscope people. DC Numerology, what's up, man? So the reason why I had to do this, some of you may have caught my previous Periscope. In my previous Periscope, I discussed how I felt about that. I'll upload it to YouTube, I guess in the next day or so. But some people have expressed concern because I never went into the vulgar language and the peculiar behavior of the Hebrew Israelites. I never got a chance to address that. So I'd like to address that now. Also, I'd like to take questions from people who are not familiar with the culture of the Hebrew Israelites to provide better understanding of the culture as best I know it, to my knowledge. So let's begin. First of all, I want to start where I missed, why I missed that talking point, why I didn't think to address the behavior of the Hebrew Israelites. It's because I'm used to them. It's because I understand their culture, because it wasn't culture shock for me. I know for many people it was culture shock. I know for those Covington kids, it was culture shock. Never seen anything like that before. You know, usually us people in here in New York City, when we see the Hebrew Israelites, you kind of just walk past and you ignore them. You either engage or ignore them. Usually new people new to the Hebrew Israelites fall into the trap of engaging with them. And that's what happened to those Covington kids. You know, they say, the Hebrew Israelites say a lot of what people might think is crazy. I think some of it's crazy. Some of it. Hebrew Israelites are a very unique bunch. Some people might call them Hotep. The other day they said, Hotep Jesus are the Hebrew Israelites Hotep? And the only response I could give them without going into great detail was yes and no. Hotep is an Egyptian word, and the Hebrew Israelites want nothing to do with Africa. They want nothing to do with the Egyptians, at least the types that you have seen, the types that you saw in that video. They don't like Egypt. They believe that the Egyptians enslaved them. So therefore they will not associate with anything Egyptian. Hotep has come to be a term that people use as a pejorative to refer to black people of the right wing of the black people. If black liberals are the left wing, people who will love the Democrats are the left wing, black people who voted for Hillary Clinton are the left wing, the Hoteps would be the right wing of the black community. Some black people might even call them extremists or far right. I may refer to them as Hoteps because they represent that group of black people on the right wing that have been ostracized and not given a voice by the mainstream blacks and are usually castigated by the mainstream blacks. If you're watching on YouTube right now, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the share button. If you're on Periscope, hit the 3 dots, hit the retweet button. If you're on YouTube, super chat to make a comment or ask a question. Now, So somebody just said, Teresa PA said, too much hate to be Hotep. Yeah, there was definitely too much hate within the Hebrew Israelites to be of the Hotep, as you would know, Uncle Hotep and Hotep Jesus and Doe and Mike and Phoenix to be a quite more peaceful version of Hotepism, I guess you can say. We've cultivated a much more peaceful, a much more democratic version of Hotepism. So are the Hebrew Israelites Hotep? Technically depends on your definition of Hotep and who you ask and their definition of Hotep. A lot of people refer to them as Hoteps. Now, the Hebrew Israelites, I must say that the kind that I saw remind me of the kind that are with ISUPK, Captain Tazariak's brand of Hebrew Israelite. Those two look like close cousins. Now, I know Oxy John, Oxy_John. I follow him on Twitter. He's an Hebrew Israelite. He would not take part in the same actions as those Hebrews. His way of life in some ways is similar, in many ways is different. He would associate with Africa, whereas ISUPK would not say they are African. They would say they're Hebrew Israelites, whatever that means to them. So when we talk about Hebrew Israelites, it's very important not to categorize that group that we saw as defining the entire group, as an example of the entire group, because that would be unfair to people like Oxy John. Now, the Hebrew Israelites that stand on 125th Street, the ones that stand on 42nd Street, down there by Madison Square Garden sometimes, Times Square. Some people might say they dress like Ninja Turtles. They dress like archaic, like they're back in the day. That's how you can usually recognize them. They don't agree with conforming to Western culture. Now, Jules has asked, are you making excuses? Well, Jules, welcome to the chat. I haven't even gotten to that part of the chat yet. What I'm doing right now is framing what it is to be a Hebrew Israelite. We're going to move into their actions in just a moment. Somebody just asked, are they trying to blame Hoteps for the black Hebrew Israelites? Yes, that was a concern that came up. And that's why somebody tagged me and said, Hotep Jesus, could you help us out on this matter? And that's why I did this Periscope to kind of explain. I guess this is a good time to segue into their actions with the Covington students. The Hebrew Israelites of the ISUPK brand are vulgar. They are vulgar. Violently vulgar. I wouldn't say they are violent, but they can get violent. They will jump you. They will kick your ass if you threaten them with violence. But I wouldn't exactly call them a violent bunch per se. Their language is violent, as you saw. And that part kind of went over my head. I didn't realize what those Covington kids were experiencing, because at the moment I was caught up in my view, because Hebrew Israelites, I'm just so familiar with them. It's no culture shock. I didn't see it as something negative or a negative experience towards the Covington students. I didn't see it as an attack on the Covington students, although that's what it was. I still don't see it as an attack on Covington students, because the ISUPK version of Hebrew Israelites is so peculiar, odd. You almost can't take it serious. You almost can't take it serious. You see, when people use violent language and you take serious, you give credence to it. But when people have violent language and you ignore it, it has no gravity. You take its power away. And I think that by highlighting their behavior and meeting it with such vitriol, you give what the Hebrew Israelites are saying power. Now, somebody said they do speak some truth. Yeah, you can. You can take truth from many people. You can meet a bum and learn something from them, right? And that's why I say that they're an interesting bunch, because you can learn a lot about the Bible from these people. They've studied the Bible. That's all they study. They study the Bible. So you can learn a lot about these people from the Bible. You hear things that you won't hear from other people. So me, an objective person, when I look at the Bible, I like to hear everybody's interpretation. I love seeing what people cherry pick from the Bible to speak about. It's quite interesting. And the Hebrew Israelites, what they choose to highlight is stuff you wouldn't normally hear. So I like some of it. For the Covington students, I didn't see a threat, because I like to believe that I understand white children or white kids or white high school kids. And I say that because I went to a suburban high school, which was semi-affluent. So when I saw them face off the Hebrew Israelites, I was like, this isn't, the words are used aren't words that they haven't heard before. These aren't words or types of language that they haven't heard before. They may not have heard these words used in that combination before. They've not heard those words used in that manner before. They may not have had those words used against them, but they've heard vulgar language before. We've all played Grand Theft Auto and watched rated R movies. These kids don't have virgin ears. To me, the Hebrew Israelites down there were like a museum exhibit. A zoo, if you will. Just a zoo without cages. And this exhibit happened to be the Hebrew Israelites. Now, you can either choose to interact with this exhibit, or you can choose to simply observe the exhibit. Now, when you interact with the exhibit, you get what you get. Wise men say don't argue with fools. So if these kids chose to have an argument with a bunch of fools, I believe that there was a lesson to be learned in that experience. And I think that kids need to learn that experience. I think that it was great that a bunch of affluent white kids got to meet Hebrew Israelites. Like, a lot of people only see Hebrew Israelites on YouTube. They don't have the experience of meeting the Hebrew Israelites. This rather peculiar bunch. So these kids were able to interface with grown men. They were able to debate. And I love that nobody stopped it. A lot of the people didn't like the video, and they didn't like the exchange of the Hebrew Israelites versus the Covington students, whereas I thought it was powerful. I feel as though that moment was the opposite of the Gillette commercial. You see, the Gillette commercial would see two men arguing back and forth, maybe using violent language, and call it toxic masculinity. Hotep Jesus sees a group of men, one is outnumbered clearly, arguing back and forth, and I see healthy masculinity being practiced. Boys will be boys. Isn't that what they put in the Gillette commercial? And try to make that sound bad? We're going to go into questions in a little bit, so save your questions. Isn't that what Gillette tried to say? They tried to say boys will be boys and try to downplay the importance of men to debate, the importance of men to argue, to cuss each other out. It's how boys become men. Strong debate. So when these boys got cussed out, I'm a father of 2 boys. If it was my boys and ISUPK, Hebrew Israelite brand, was cussing at my kids in DC, I would observe. I would observe how my sons interacted with these men and how the Hebrew Israelites interacted with my sons, and allow everybody to learn from each other. And I would learn at the same time. But that's only because I'm familiar with the culture of the Hebrew Israelites. Now, if I was unfamiliar with them, I'd have to probably pull my kids and say, let's walk away. This could get ugly. But the Hebrew Israelites are a brand that likes to provoke people. They say things. They're like real life trolls. They say things to make people react. Whether you react, it's on you. You get what you get after you interact with them. But if it was my boys, I'd love to see a healthy debate. And I wouldn't mind if they were cussing at my boys. If we're going to take the road and say that the Hebrew Israelites were wrong with dealing with the children that way or the boys that way, in one way, we're not allowing the boys to be boys. Another way, we're kind of right. Because your opinions are subjective, and your subjective opinions based upon your upbringings, based upon your culture and how you interpret the world. So if you interpret the world and you interpret Hebrew Israelites to be anything more than a joke, then you'll give credence and power to them. Now, some of you have said that the media unfairly covered the boys, which they have. Some of you have said that the media hasn't brought light to the Hebrew Israelites and their actions because they're black. And that's valid too. That's quite valid. The media damn sure should have shown all sides of this thing. They should have shown you the Hebrew Israelites cussing these boys out. They didn't show that to you. It's the reason why. Many reasons why. One of them because they don't want y'all to know about the Hebrew Israelites. They don't want y'all to obtain some of the information that the Hebrew Israelites have uncovered. They don't want y'all to know that information. They don't want to give power or credence to the group. In some ways I agree, in some ways I disagree. But you are correct in where you say that the media didn't cover the Hebrew Israelites because the media wanted to castigate these boys, make them look bad. I'll take questions now. YouTube, I'll take questions too. If you got questions, I'll take them too without a super chat. I don't mind. So somebody said that they should spew their hate inside where people can choose to listen, not in public. Well, the Hebrew Israelites have exercised their rights as Americans to assemble and practice their free speech. So you'd be infringing upon the First Amendment to say that. How long do I think this Covington story will be hot? I think it's going to be hot for a little while. They'll always come back to it. It's going to be a staple in our history. Do you see the left co-opting Hotep like they did with Richard Spencer and the alt-right? They may be able to co-opt the term, but they'll never be able to co-opt Hotep Jesus. Somebody asked me, what's a true Israelite? I don't know. And was this a story just to distract us from something like Venezuela? Somebody asked. I believe this was a distraction to distract us from Syria, to distract us from the Yellow Jackets in France. NY Brooklyn 1 said, are you in agreement with the beliefs of the Hebrew Israelites? I think it's a poor question. I think that it's too broad of a question. Can I agree with some things they say? Perhaps. Can I agree? Can I disagree? Yeah. To say I agree with their beliefs, I don't even know what their wholehearted beliefs are. So I don't know how you could say that. What truth do they hold that a person like me should know? I don't know. I don't know what truth they hold because I don't know what truth you need, what truth you are seeking, and what truth is going to serve you or serve your people. The truth you want is the truth you find. What I say is go listen to them and find a truth in what they speak, because they highlight things in the Bible that most people don't. So if you want to know a truth, you can find truths about the Bible you won't hear anywhere else. Somebody says students can't sue anyone for slander and threats. I don't know about the validity of that statement. If that's true, I'm sure there's loopholes around that. Why is the media this corrupt? Will it ever regain credibility? Not until we hold them accountable, it won't become credible. The media is corrupt because the media is there to misinform you, to keep you controlled. Somebody said the white man is the devil. That part. Do I believe the white man is the devil? I'm sorry, I'm reading questions here. Did Big Chief contribute or diminish the encounter? Big Chief contributed to the encounter. You see, Big Chief, I'm going to come back to your question. You see, Big Chief didn't mess with the Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrew Israelites was talking to Big Chief too. They called him a fraud too. Big Chief knows the Hebrew Israelites. He don't want no sauce with the Hebrew Israelites, so he moved on. Do I believe the white man is the devil? No. I don't believe he's the devil. Would Israelites ever have made the news if Trump wasn't in office? Nope, they damn sure wouldn't have. Somebody asked me about opinions on Blexit. I'd rather keep this thing on topic. We're not going to go too off topic here. I'm not taking questions that's not related to this topic. If it's slightly related, I'll answer. Would Israelites ever have made the news if Trump wasn't in office? That's a hell no. That is a hell no. Do I hate the white liberal? No, Hotep Jesus hates no one. I do not hate the white liberal. What's white? It changes and gets co-opted every 4 or 5 generations. Yeah, what is white? That does get changed a lot. Are the Israelite blacks the same ones in that funny video where they make the Jewish kid cry when they say the Holocaust was a joke? Yes, that's them. One time the Hebrew Israelites are notorious for making white people kiss their feet. Go look at that video. The Hebrew Israelites make a white man kiss their feet. Rastas be Hebrew Israelites. Both believe they are the real Jews, no? Well, you can't say that they're equal. They do believe. Now, I don't know if Rastas believe that they are the real Jews. I think what they're saying is that Jews were black. The original Jews were black. I think that's the consensus, that the 12 tribes of Judah are black. He said, ask the Moors, what is white? So the Moors would say white is free, right? That's what free means. Distraction from the news and another Hollywood producer? Yeah, you already know. Is the white liberal, this is new, I don't know what this is, something just popped up. Is the white liberal more dangerous to blacks than white nationalists? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Most definitely. The white liberal is more dangerous to blacks than the white nationalists. White liberal holds way more power. Is the white liberal our black people's real enemy? I'd say they're closer to the enemy than the white nationalists. Well, Hoteps get slanted on the root because of the because of the Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, more than likely. Do I believe in the Bible? I don't know how to answer that question, because what does it mean to believe in the Bible? If it means that I have to take everything in the Bible as truth, your answer is no. I'm not taking the things in the Bible as truth. Have you noticed that none of the names of the adults being vulgar were mentioned? Yeah, I noticed that. Yes, not all Israelite camps operate the same or preach the same doctrine. That is true. That is true. So somebody said Judah was one of the tribes of Israel, not the 12 tribes of Judah. Correct. Thank you for correcting me. The 12 tribes of Israel, and Judah is one of those tribes. My apologies of that. Why do so many blacks support the liberal state? Well, the liberal state's the one handing out government support, subsidization. Call it free fried chicken. If you're giving free fried chicken, everybody come to your party. Like how I said that, it's a double entendre. If you're giving out free chicken, everybody will come to your party, political party. Why were the Israelites rude to the woman? Told her to be quiet. Okay, good question. Hebrew Israelites believe that the woman is to be subservient to the man, that the woman is not to have conversation with the man. Very similar to Islamic culture. Woman's got to walk a few steps behind the man. She's never to challenge a man. It's that thing. Is there anything you firmly agree on with the Hebrew Israelites? Nothing comes to mind that I firmly agree on with them. I like some of the things they highlight in the Bible, and I think some of the things in the Bible conflict what people say about the Bible. So I like some of that stuff. There's nothing I firmly believe in, period. So there's nothing I firmly agree with them on too much, but there are some things that I think that I can say provoke thought and provoke me to research. I like some ideas. I do like some ideas. What is worse, being a racist or a hypocrite? Somebody asked me, are you a black nationalist? If not, what is your vision for America and blacks going forward? I'm not going to answer that question. It's too off topic. But I'm not a black nationalist. But my views might be sometimes construed or misconstrued as black nationalism. So, it could be some similar in some ways, because I believe in, a black dollar. Could you shed some light on the interview with one of the Covington kids if you saw it? Yeah, I don't mind. How do you even begin to get black liberals to understand MAGA is not a white supremacist movement? I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was like, if the Republican Party wanted the black vote, I could get it for them. I could literally get it for them. I would need the same budget that TPUSA has, except I would do things quite differently, and I'd be talking to a different group. You see, TPUSA can't get to the people. They're not relatable. Being black isn't enough to be relatable to black people. You got to actually be black. You got to understand the hood to talk to the hood. Then you also have to understand economics, politics, and you'd have to understand white people to make the connection between the hood and white people. And you need to know marketing and psychology. But I believe with a TPUSA budget, I could drastically move the needle of black people towards, because I understand why they believe MAGA is a white supremacist movement. And the first thing I would do is tackle that mentality right there, the anti-Trump hate. To everyone that I've had conversations with a lot of people that were like, I guess you can say hate Trump people, to after a conversation with me where, you're probably right. This Democrat thing isn't working out. I'd probably consider voting for a Republican now. But there's steps and things you have to take people through. And I actually have a program I've developed and I'm developing. How do we lift ourselves up without control of Black destiny? Let me just check YouTube for questions. Do I think any of the situation is staged or was it spontaneous? I think this was spontaneous. Do you think while they was capable of realizing? Somebody said, where does the Lion of Judah come from? Africa. Lions only live in Africa. Hebrews were black. Okay, so somebody asked, is there anything I firmly agree with Hebrew Israelites on? It's that point. I believe the original Hebrews were black. The original Israelites were black. We agree on that. Somebody said the Hebrew Israelites are a threat to the elves. Correct. That is correct. And that is why I like them. YouTube. Y'all got to get some better questions, YouTube. Is Blexit worthless? I'm going to stay mum on that. We're going to stay on topic. I really want to answer that question, but I'm not. What if Big Chief was the one wearing the MAGA hat? Man, if Big Chief was the one wearing the MAGA hat, whoo, things would have got real interesting. Would you believe in it if there were historical facts to back the Bible? There are historical facts to back the Bible. Still doesn't believe that I'm going to believe some man parted the seas with a stick. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of allegory in the Bible people don't understand. Like the concept of hell and hell burning. The truth is that there was a physical hell on earth that they threw people into. It was a pit, and I believe the pit was an oil-like substance, if not oil itself, and had fire that burned eternally. It burned ongoing. I don't know if it was man-made or I don't know if it was man-made or natural. But there was a pit that's consistently burning and they threw people in it. And that's where the concept of hell and fire came from. It was actually a physical thing. I'm still doing studies in the Bible. One day I'm going to break that thing apart. I'm going to fucking break people's minds. It's going to be glorious. Somebody said black as in sub-Saharan African or North African, because birth Africans are not black. Or I guess he was trying to say North Africans are not black. And now they're not black. Why do these black leaders date or marry interracially, from Candace Owens to DeRay? Another question I'm going to stay mum on because we're off topic. Are you a Hebrew Israelite? Hotep Jesus is not a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. Let me say that again. I am not a Hebrew Israelite. This is not me here coming to defend Hebrew Israelites. This is me here just simply having a conversation. It's just a broadcast of information and hopefully inspiration. Somebody said the Bible promotes slavery. Now, Bible talk, I guess, is relevant because we're talking about the Hebrew Israelites. So some of those questions are cool, too. Somebody asked me, what do I believe? I believe it is a sin to believe. Somebody asked me, what are you? I'm Hotep. I have cultivated my own faith. my own belief. I'm not Christian. What up, Tion? Tion used to work for me. What up, homie? I'm not Muslim. I have no political and no religious alignings. I am Hotep, and Hotep encompasses religion or faith in some ways. At least for me it does. And politics. It's quite holistic. You see, Hotep at least our brand of Hotep is unique in the fact that we don't care about a lot of stuff most people care, but it's a cultural thing. Do you believe Jesus is black too? Yes, I believe Jesus is black. How do you keep peace between segregated communities? Keep them segregated. What made me stop believing in the Bible? I never believed in the Bible. I never believed in the Bible. I was confirmed Catholic. I went to a Catholic church. I went to Catholic school. At one point, you kind of like are a believer because you don't know what to believe. So you kind of just go along with it. Somebody said, can other races subscribe or prescribe to Hotep philosophy? Is it a racial thing? I think you can subscribe to Hotep as, yeah, that's some Jules. Perfect response. He said the Greeks subscribed to Hotepism. The Greeks damn sure did. The Greeks got their entire philosophy from Hotepism. So you can. I think that we have to be honest and say that everything I do for all of humanity with a concentration on black people because I believe black people are the underdog and I like the underdog. What literature do I believe is true? I don't know. I read a lot of books. I don't read literature to necessarily find the truth. I read literature to find my truth. Yeah, I don't. Thank you. I appreciate that compliment. Somebody said Hotep is mindception. Yeah, it is. Yes, it did, Tion. Yes, that's what it says. Hotep Jesus is the founder of Hoteps. Yes, me and Uncle Hotep are the founders of Hotep Nation. What would it take for me to believe in Christianity? Yeah, there's a manifesto for Hotep coming soon. I wrote it already. I just got to put it out. What would it take for me to believe in Christianity? At one point, I did believe in Christianity. So why would I go backwards in my evolution? What is my purpose if I have no belief? I don't know why you need a belief to have a purpose. I believe in love. If you ask me my religion is love. If you are going to do anything in this world that's worth a damn, you would have to do it out of love. Anything other than that is worthless. It's only going to take us backwards. My purpose in this incarnation is to educate people, to inspire people, to uplift humanity, to do the work of a saint. That's why I'm here. To do the work of a saint is what I believe my purpose is. Why are people easily deceived nowadays? Because they're dumb. School don't teach you how to think. It teaches you what to think. Are elders to be respected when they are disrespectful? I'll take this question because I like it, and I'll take it because it has to do with the chief dude, Nathan Phillips. Elders are to be respected at all times, even when they are disrespectful. I look at elders the same way I look at children. I look at people in a way where just because somebody is disrespectful doesn't mean I have to match their energy. You see, respecting other people isn't about respecting them. Respecting other people is about respecting yourself. If you can respect the disrespectful, it speaks highly of how you carry yourself. So being disrespectful is you stooping to their level, which reduce you from your role in producing divinity. So why would you want to be disrespectful just because someone else is disrespectful? You're not acting out of love. You can either remove yourself from the situation or make them look silly for being disrespectful by displaying respectfulness. What made me stop believing in my Christian faith? A lot of people are tuning out because, they don't like, they're Christians. They can't deal with this, non-Christian stuff. It's heretical because they've been taught to be dogmatic. They've been taught to not be tolerant of others' beliefs. But I stopped believing in it because I started studying it. I started learning the truths, or what I believe is closer to the truth. I studied Jesus a lot, and I know who he is or what he is. Is there anything inherently wrong with any race of people being proud of their genetic ancestors? No, there's not. You should be proud of who you are. Would I consider running for office? At one point I did. Now I'm leaning more towards, no, I probably won't. But I'm not going to say I won't. I'm leaning towards won't, but things can change in the future. Somebody says, was Nick's smirk disrespectful? No, I don't think Nick's smirk was disrespectful. No, I don't think it was at all. I think that some people chose to make it be something that they wanted it to believe. I'm going to be on here for another 50 seconds. SB Alger, thank you for the super chat on YouTube. I appreciate you donating money to Hotep Jesus. Blacks equal Jews, kids equal Christians, native equals pagan. How would you have responded at that age to a native chief drumming in your face? I probably would have started dancing. I maybe would have, I might have took the drum from him and started beating on it. I was a bad kid. I was a wild kid. But yo, thank you for tuning into the stream. I'm out.